working on making us live. Okay, remind me at the end of the meeting to try to save it. Okay. Well, it takes it's about a minute. Come on in. Stephen Hardwick, Chair of the Clinton Area Zoning Committee, call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Andrea Pinot, Judy Minister, and Andrew Miller all have excused absences. I'll check sometime, make sure Mike McCauliffe hasn't logged. Bobby can be here. Just if anyone saw the agenda, one thing that wasn't. But I take a motion to approve unless someone has changes, except with the one thing that we do not have the demolition waiting period on the agenda because that was a cut and paste area from last week. So with removing that from the agenda, do I have a motion to approve it? I move. All in favor?
Aye.
Five in favor. Kelly is taking minutes tonight. Just for since I didn't bring paper copies of the agenda, we have two. First thing we're going to do is consider the previous meeting's minutes, and we have 3645 North High and then 3400 North High on the agenda. So it circulated last week's draft minutes. I think there was, Kelly, did you see one change in that? That there was one?
Yeah, and I think you changed it.
You did? Okay. Can you double check to make sure it reflects that? Do you have that in front of you? Look at the one that was circulated. I can show you. You've got to look at this. This is what we circulated. You scroll it by using 2 fingers on the pad. Okay, so item GG should say K, not DT is what you said it? Yeah. KKT said it. So can you make them, do I have a motion to approve except for changing an item GG that Kelly said it and not Diane?
Right.
Okay. Any second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. What? Okay, so approved 4-0 to 1. Okay, now let's move on to the first item on the variance agenda, 3645 North High Street, EZA 22146. Order to change the use of the middle tenant space from retail to restaurant and to install approximately 527 square feet restaurant patio along the North Street frontage. They seek to reduce the required parking spaces from 60 spaces to 40. We're going to just have the applicant sit up here. And just for the folks who are here, the way we do this is we have the applicant give their presentation. We have the area, if the commissioner for the district wants to give a statement, report on the district, then they do that. Then we have questions from the committee. And I promise you, if you came here to speak or ask questions on something, that's when your turn is and you will get it.
Extra handouts if anybody would like to have some. Sure. We just keep one.
Oh, you did warn me in advance that you'll have a statement ready for the commission, the screening form.
I think so. We can share one.
Oh.
I didn't realize.
Extras of these two. Would like to have these?
Yeah, just
Are you Dominic?
I'm David Hodge.
David, okay.
Okay, you have the floor.
Thanks very much. So, yes, my name is David Hodge. I'm a zoning and land use lawyer at the law firm Underhill and Hodge. Here this evening on behalf of the owner of the property. It's the southwest corner of Winthrop and North High. It until recently has been a 3-tenant commercial building with Sbarro, Chase in the middle, and Philosophy, a salon in the north space. Chase has not renewed their lease. They were in the center space, they've moved on. The current property owner would like to lease to a new tenant there, that is a restaurant, there's that middle space. They would like to also, if you've been by, there's an existing fenced in, it's sort of a faux wrought iron enclosure there in front of the Chase. They want to use that for some outdoor dining, which changes, the change of use from a bank to restaurant changes the parking requirement under the city code. And so the request is to reduce the required parking from 61 parking spaces down to 40. The building here was built in around 2004. Based upon some of the homework we did, I think that Metropolitan Holdings brought through the process back then. Seemingly a pretty good use there, a pretty quiet use. I know that when they did the building, they committed to some extensive buffering around the perimeter. That buffering has really matured, as you can see from the aerial photograph. I drove the site before, and that buffering seems to do a great job of shielding this commercial use from residential there to the west. I included some aerial photography that I just got off of the Franklin County Auditor's website. I included the dates just to sort of go down through a snapshot in various times of the parking demand that has been here at the property. It's fair to say that there's available parking here, and always is. I found some photographs where there was exactly one car. Didn't really find any where it was excessively full. The tenant here, which I'm probably not really supposed to say because it's not a total done deal, is a Five Guys burger place. Of course, I've worked with the city, submitted this application, they've done their initial staff review. Staff review came back as being very positive. I'm sure all of you have seen presentations recently, not Tony Celebrezzi and others at the city of Columbus. The city's in the process of rewriting its zoning code, and I think that they have in some ways concluded that the zoning requirements in the city are extensive, especially along a commercial corridor like High Street, and that very often we pave paradise and put up parking lots, and they're trying to steer away from that. I observed some other locations along North High, both retail and restaurant, prior to the meeting tonight, which is pretty much right at dinner time. Ample available parking in every single place I went by that has parking. I mean, certainly up on there are commercial spaces with zero parking, just by virtue of when the neighborhood developed. One of the things that we'd like to do is to provide some bike parking here. As I looked at the site, I didn't see any bike parking around the perimeter. There are some really nice, mature, either American sycamore or London plane trees out there, which we hate to take care of those, but look like in the center of the frontage, sort of out front of where the patio would be along High Street, we could come into the city right away, pave a space and provide some bicycle parking that would accommodate all of these uses. When I was over there tonight, of course, the Chase is out. There's a dumpster in the parking lot to recondition that space. There were probably 4 or 5 cars total in the parking lot. Sbarro was open. Not too much going on there. I don't know how much pizza they're selling tonight, but not very much apparently. I go to Five Guys. I love Five Guys, and when I go to Five Guys, I'm typically in and out, either carry out or just sit down 30 minutes and get in and out. It's never, the one I go to is up on Broad Street, but it's never a place where you see a dining room full. I also go to the one on Fifth over sort of the Grandview area near campus, never a dining room that's full of customers. I think it's a lot of kind of quick in and out. I think that's everything I have to say, and I will stop talking and do my best to answer questions.
Is this your district?
Yes.
Yes, to go through
Yes, I don't have anything particular to say about it.
Yeah.
I did have, two, residents on Northmore. Aren't you Dr. Singer?
Yes, I am.
Yes, and Dr. Singer's here. And there was another person also who just asked to see the variance application. But I didn't,
That's Stratton.
in Stratton Hall, yes. That's right, the owner of the Alt Realty Company there. And I didn't receive any specific comments about it. I think they were just looking for information.
But we had no idea what the development was.
Right, and neither did I.
It's not, and I guarantee it's not a promise, so that it will be there, but that's, okay, is that it? Do you?
Yes,
all you
that's
said?
it.
Okay. Do you have questions from the committee?
There was a bike parking here.
So, yeah, this is just a theory, high level idea that I had, but, out along, so we're talking about the center tenant space, the patio would be out here, here's the sidewalk, there's some nice trees out here in the tree line. There's some sort of a street sign there in the center of that tree line. I thought that right around the location of that street sign would be a good place to put the bike parking. But it could also go, in the northern end of the building, in and around these landscape beds or someplace else. But we want to do bike parking. It makes sense for people to ride over here, either for pizza or for hamburgers, as the case may be. And I don't think there's any bike parking out there today, so we are certainly happy to commit to creating some bike parking, whether it's on the lot itself or in the city's right of way with their permission.
Would the bike parking extend down into the sidewalk for people to be walking?
No, we'll make sure to keep it out of the pedestrian path. I think ADA requires that you have to have a 5-foot clear passage, and that's probably a 5-foot sidewalk there, so we'll keep it outside the sidewalk. The city would list that in my
I'm trying to remember, is there any street parking along?
No, there's not.
I
Not
don't
along
think
this
so,
stretch out here.
and not on either side, correct?
No.
Well, there's, on the others, I thought there's parking.
I think so.
Not right up against.
It looks like from this aerial up on the north side,
Yeah.
there is, but not
Yes.
on the south side. And I promise you, I didn't make that picture up. I didn't go picture shopping for the aerial photograph to show the number of parking spaces in there. And the county's website is great in terms of providing the aerial photography over various snapshots in time. I didn't make those up either. Anybody can get on there and peruse and see what kind of parking demand is here on this site.
And what's that, where's the bus, there's a bus stop along
I
the
do not
side?
know the answer to that question.
Right in front of Hall.
Sorry?
Right in front of Hall.
Okay.
And one thing you may be asking the commission to think about between now and then is whether you'd be open to having a slightly bigger variance, meaning fewer spaces to make more accessible spaces. Because we understand, unfortunately, the way the city code is, federal code, I think it's the interaction with federal, as we give parking variances for walkability, we also give variances for accessible spaces.
So it underprovides for ADA spaces.
Right. And I do know we've been trying to keep some of an idea on that. So they just talk to your clients between now and then, whether they'd be willing to do it. I can't guarantee you which way the commission would go, but we might get
I'll
asked
be
about
prepared,
that.
I'll be prepared for that.
That's also why we now do these 8 days, and now it's a week and 8 days before the commission meeting, so that we can do that. Do other questions from the committee before I go ask Bill? Okay. Can you give your name and then either one of you, both of you have a chance to talk, just give your name first.
My name is Sherwin Singer. We live on the block just west of this shopping strip on, we live on North Fourth. We're concerned because, while, I gotta admit, the day after Christmas, that the lot is empty, and I'm just reacting to it right now, but if you look other shots like 12-5, the lot is mostly full. 12-1, the lot is mostly full. Then you add, if it's a successful restaurant, the additional people who are gonna be there, what's gonna happen is that the parking will spill onto our street. And there'll be, the additional noise. I don't know how late the restaurant will be open. But that's certainly a concern. When this development came in, there were promises. I gotta admit that the landscaping, they really kept up with that. On the other hand, we were promised that they wouldn't be banging garbage cans at 5 in the morning. They bang them at 5 in the morning. And, these guys can swear up and down that there won't be a congestion, but they have no control over it. And once it's rezoned, there's no going back on that. So a bank is an ideal tenant for our situation, but I have a lot of concerns about giving a parking variance. The more successful the restaurant is, the more noisy our block will be.
I just did a quick search. Every Five Guys in Columbus that they listed, I did my search, closes at 10 p.m.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, well, that's not great.
I know, it is what it is, I thought it.
Yeah, I know, that's a good piece of information.
One of the promises that they made when they came in last time was that nothing would be open past 11 o'clock, so that's one of the promises that were on there.
Would you like to speak?
Here we go.
Is there anyone else here coming to speak on this?
Just a
Can
question.
you give your name?
Steve Hutchison, I own the third building at 3400 High Street. Have you completed your parking study yet?
So the city has done their review, and they have not obligated us to conduct a parking study for this use.
Tim Kaskowski, 3240 North High Street, 36 to 42.
I'm sorry, can you say that?
Tim Kaskowski, 3236 to 3242 North High Street. Just something that I think is more to your comment. Mr. Hodge here mentioned that the zoning is changing, and one of the things we see throughout the city is, these little regional types centers have flexibility in use, and they don't have really intense parking needs, as evidenced by sort of the aerials. And when I look at that center itself, over the last 10 years that I've been an owner in Clinton, I don't see that it is overly demanded, and I don't know that like a Five Guys, which is under a parking study, a fast casual restaurant, the study counts and traffic counts are much lower than a sit-down restaurant. So like you're gonna have people there for less time, and the people going there are much more transient. So while you might have congestion, I don't think that it spills to your streets, and that's the way traffic studies typically are run, which I think supports why the city is not requiring a further study for a 1-tenant change in a 3-tenant building. So I want that on record, because I think that context is sort of important. And in general, yeah, thank you.
I totally agree with what you said, and I think that the city's parking code is often a square peg in a round hole, And, you know, to say eating and drinking establishments are sort of one size fits all is totally inadequate for all of the reasons you just said. And to call a gas station convenience store a retail use when that's boom, 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 in and out all day, and it has a much less parking demand, yet is far more intense, makes no sense to me.
I do, go ahead.
I do wanna say, you know,
Give your name
I
again.
come out in Magna Rivera, I live at 42 Northmore. And one thing I do notice that is, a traffic problem is that when you come out of Northmore, you have the Sbarro people coming out, okay? You have the Wendy's people coming this way, and then you also have the bus in that direction. And that's a very busy, I actually don't even try to make a left turn there, I'll go to another block to find a light. So I can see that adding another restaurant with that middle lane, people trying to go in and out of there is a precarious situation. Given the fact that the two stone towers at the end of Northmore Place have been completely demolished by accidents twice in the last couple of years. I mean, completely demolished, they had to put them back up again. There were accidents on that corner, so it may seem like there's not a traffic problem, but there is. I mean, I come out of there quite often, and I see that there's a potential for making more traffic at that corner that is not a great traffic flow. I don't know what word I would use, but coming out of, people coming out of Wendy's or going into Wendy's, it's just a precarious situation.
And do you have any comment on the dumpster issue?
Well, we can certainly commit, and I'm sorry that happens. I used to, when I first came to town, I lived in German Village by the Big Bear, which became the Giant Eagle, which is now under redevelopment for a big Pizzuti project. And experienced that same thing when I lived there. We're certainly willing as a part of this to again commit to some better hours of operation. It's private service, and it's a new owner, and this new owner can require that their private service operate within certain hours. Certainly happy to make that commitment.
So when they pick up dumpsters, is that for the whole unit
Yeah,
or just that one?
I believe it's for the
business?
entire unit.
For the entire unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Just one more, I mean, I'm looking at these shots from 12/5, 12/1, 4/19, there's 4/13, the lots, there's only a few open spaces. 11/23, right before Thanksgiving, it's empty. 12/26, day after Christmas, it's empty.
I certainly tried to be fair in terms of the pictures that I provided.
Yeah, no,
And-
thank you.
Yeah, and
Thanks very much.
and there are some times when the lot is fuller than others. The point I'm making is that that there is available parking in this lot, and rare would be the instance when if all of these places were open at the same time, let's say 6 o'clock at dinner time, a full rush, that this lot is ever going to be at maximum capacity. And I think that a reduction in the parking requirement, which is a square peg in a round hole, is certainly appropriate for this location.
The pictures speak.
I agree. I think that you and I have different interpretations of the pictures, obviously.
Is the Sbarro, they have a drive-through?
They do.
Do you know when the Sbarro's been closing?
I don't know their hours. It's open now, though. At least it was open a half an hour ago.
Do you have other questions from the committee? I think it's the proper way to do this, that is put a motion on the floor and then have discussion. Have a motion to approve,
I move to approve.
a second. Yeah, trying to follow Robert's rules. So now it's on the floor and open for discussion.
I would like to make sure that we get the commitments of the bike parking hours and communication with the dumpster people as part of our,
Condition,
as a condition, conditions for
is
10
bike,
o'clock. Is bike parking commitment to that?
is that already required by code now? Is that-
Thanks.
Be incurring any changes for code because they're not changing any structure of the business, they're just doing.
But how, do you want us to commit, can you commit?
I can commit to all of those things.
So let's make sure, clear, so how many bikes?
10 o'clock, I don't know what time they open,
11.
11?
Well, probably, no, I thought, I think the previous commitment was, no closing.
No later.
No later
They say
than
10
11.
o'clock.
No, say 10.
Yeah.
Would you agree to 10?
Yes.
The pizza place closes at 10.
Yeah, I think that is what I remember about everything needed to close at 10 in that place.
So conditions, anyway.
So 10 o'clock, bike rack, working with the city to figure out where that could be best placed.
Right.
And a commitment about the dumpster
Service hours.
service hours.
There are a lot of, more and more people are, especially with electric bikes, are getting those. I wouldn't be surprised. I see those programs quite often. Dumpster, what are the dumpster hours that you're committing to?
Oh, I don't know what's reasonable there. It's hard to say when folks get up, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Seems like rational hours to me.
I think most of the complaints we always hear about the dumpsters is like 4 and 5 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, what a way to wake up. So I think that's the more important focus.
Yeah, I haven't heard many dumpsters. being
No, I don't
committed.
hear dumpsters. I've not heard about that. I always hear.
I don't know, as soon as you don't do that, then some companies will
Sure.
discover a niche. So,
It's residents of Piedmont Avenue, where we've got the Starbucks at the end of the street. I'm sure Piedmont area. I understand the concerns about parking and street congestion and everything, but also I think Five Guys is not gonna be, I've never driven past the Five Guys where the parking lot is bursting full. I mean, I don't know, I might be missing some key hours, but I feel like it would be an overall pretty good use for the center. I'm sure it would be popular.
other comments?
I also think the 10 o'clock hours, because what I always think about is the variance goes with the property. So you put another restaurant in here that might be busier, but they still have to close at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
which would kind of limit, to me, who's gonna wanna do that. Who's gonna wanna be limited to closing at 10 o'clock, which means you probably can't stop, you'd have to stop serving by 9:30 at the latest, and a nicer restaurant, but a more upscale restaurant isn't gonna
Where
be
you wanna
interested in
linger.
that. They won't sell a lot of wine
Right.
So,
Most of these Five Guys that are around Columbus close at 9:30.
I heard it, let's check this at 10.
Maybe the people, the employees do it at 10, but most of these are, they're closing.
Which website are you looking at?
I just did the.
There's one on Bedford.
Oh, I did, when I checked the Five Guys,
It's just all campus.
when I checked Five Guys website, it's at 10, so that might be, maybe Google has it wrong.
Delta Road is 9:30, Fifth Avenue 9:30, Dublin 9:30.
Well, I imagine they're not very,
Hilliard is
I don't imagine there's a lot of traffic after 9:30.
Well, yeah, oh, I see, delivery hours, that's at 9:30. That's what it's, I just.
Oh, so you can still walk in.
Anyway, well, yeah.
Unless you're a zoning holder, you'd be amazed at what I'm eating at 9:30 at night regularly.
But when I've gone to Five Guys and I've driven to Bethel at 50, I've almost always been able to park like right in front of the door. I never,
Right.
like literally right, there's always a spot right in front. Right. Although, my kids love going to Five Guys, which means it's
But I do get some, I feel like there's a little bit of a guardrail with the 10 p.m. closing.
So do we have a motion to amend the motion to approve with conditions, closing by 10 p.m., bike parking provided, we didn't specify the number of spaces, and no, and dumpster pickup only between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Do you have that, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, we don't put conditions on unless you agree to it.
I agree to it.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a motion, okay.
You need another motion?
I think we need to vote on the amendment. All in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So it's now approved 5-0. That brings us back to the main motion on the table, motion to approve as amended. Do we have any more comment, or are you ready to vote? You don't need to vote. Go ahead, start with Kelly.
Yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Recommend approval 5-0 with those conditions. And before the commission, then we have to check on the accessible parking spaces and see.
Reach out anytime.
And you're welcome to stay around for the one that North Broadway and High if you want to, or you're welcome to leave. We're not gonna be insulted if you walk out.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. And you're welcome. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you will get rid of that.
Kill less trees.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Thank you very much.
This was not part of the application.
Yeah.
So if you can pass it around. The next on the agenda is, I got my screen going. BZA 22147, 3400 North High. In order to put a restaurant on the first floor, the applicant seeks a variance to reduce the requirement of a minimum of 60% of the facade between 2 feet and 10 feet above the nearest sidewalk to be clear, non-conforming window to 33% on East North Broadway and 44% along North High Street. Just give your name again and then you have the floor.
Sit down.
Oh, I'm Steve Hutchison, I'm the owner of the building and, it's, contract on
Tim Kaskowski, I'm the architect of record and, I guess applicant.
You have the floor.
Well, I can give you a little background, we've, when we came here before, this is how we had it designed, and, we got everything approved, we had all our park variances, we're under permit, we're building. The overlay, you guys require a certain amount of openings, so we had it on there.
So,
But when you go to, we went through the whole process with the same renders and pictures.
I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a pretty significant parking variance, and, yeah, so it's
On the right of way, something.
They took, that's right, the city took the front right away back from me, and I had to sign that back to them, which was in my deed, and it's been a process, but,
So one of the things in the original application that I didn't consider, and so I told you back, is that went through and had all the approvals, but, because we're changing the openings on the frontage within an urban commercial overlay, we have to meet the opening requirements, so we're modifying the facade to make it more in line with that overlay, but unfortunately, the building is a 1960s building and is not capable of meeting those requirements structurally without completely rebuilding the inside of it. And so when we got to the final lap of permit approval, it was like, you can't modify those, turn them back to what they are. Even though all of our presentation had these same openings, and so unless you get a variance. So here we are, now that we've gotten through. Yeah.
so we could.
But the same thing we showed before.
Yeah, exactly, and if you look at the pictures of the openings, those are what the overlay requires, but they're still, that's the maximum amount that we could do because of the structural been 4 stories, that's it. On our overlay, if we could have came up to that, we'd have had a lot more openings on the fronts and sides, and that's the maximum, so we still can't hit the maximum amount.
Yeah, we had Schaefer Engineering do a full structural assessment of the building. Even the narrower opening on the patio High Street side, it's not as big as the existing big one. down, so we're cutting a new one in, it has to kind of align with the openings above, and we could only get it really 10% wider on each side, or the load would transfer right.
What we took and what we did do is, if you'll see the design there, we cornered out the nice two sides on the north high side and facing High Street and East North Broadway, so that would be, so those windows be open. So what we did, we took, and we're gonna fill some windows in on the north side of the building that faces East North Broadway, so we can bring, that's how the 10% worked, we could combine the windows there, and we did the same thing in the front, so we could get as much light and openness towards the street under the requirements we could.
Yeah.
So we maxed the windows.
And like, yeah, brief summary was like every inch that we closed up was an inch we could gain, but we were still constricted in many ways. So in that effort of making it the highest and best use towards the pedestrian side, we wanted those two corner openings to be prominent to bring light into the restaurant. And so we ended up blocking in a middle opening there.
Yeah, we gave up, which we didn't really give them up, because one of them was in the kitchen area, and we designed a cooler to go into that area, so we was able to gain a window there. Then we combined two, and we took one more window on that north side, and that's how we was even able to get that open.
Yeah, it was a process. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions or the public,
That's it.
essentially that's all we're asking for is.
Is that one I have a question. This, what was the vote in the liquor, your liquor option we put?
Oh, we were approved last time I was there. We had, our liquor license was waiting at the
Was it
shed.
like 87%?
80, you're right, 86% was the approval rate in Clintonville. Our licenses are waiting to be issued. If you guys have any good operators, we had an Italian guy that was gonna come in, and he bailed out here about a month ago, so we don't have an operator, but I'm acting as general, we're getting the design, we're moving forward. It's gonna, I'm not gonna make promises, we got our fingers crossed that we'll have operator in our open machine, and the patio will be open. The patio and everything has been approved, it's about 1,000 square feet out there. It's covered, it's gonna be nice.
Just when you go before the commission, I'd remind them that when people actually got to vote.
Yes, when we came, that vote of 86% for the alcohol license there was approved, and we also, with that, we sent out to all the churches and schools, as you know, this one everybody was notified, and we issued, it's issued, the license is issued, so everybody supported that, and we put that on the ballot. I think that was pre-pandemic, well, it was pre-pandemic, 2017, 18, when we put that on the ballot.
Would have been even easier during the pandemic, if you had gotten
I
that.
wish that was. He's aged if you.
It would have been even bigger.
You know, we got through, and then we did get the approval during the pandemic. That put us back about a year getting to the variance and stuff. And as you guys was talking earlier, you know, they made me do a full parking study. And
traffic was on trail.
yes, you know, and this is a little bit off subject, this is on, but we did our parking study, and they required, I don't know if you're familiar how they do them 6 a.m. to, you rode through it, these, so we did it. And it was before Orange Theory opened, and they're across the street, but regardless, there was 250 available spaces at that time on the streets around us, and I had no idea, so, but we still lease, we haven't even opened, we still have our lease agreement with the church and our parking agreement with the school, so we have 27 spaces at the church, we have 13 at the school to use, so as soon as we get opened up, and the school will be used for staff. We told Miss Price before she retired, our agreement, and they carried over, and we told her we just have staff parking there, there wouldn't be no patron there or any restaurant.
And the school benefits from your property, I mean, we're there right now, construction makes it a little bit of a challenge.
Yes,
A lot of drop
yes,
offs.
they park there every day and stuff, and I think when they park at school stuff, to get in and out, makes it nice when we walk the kids around. Hopefully they'll stop in, parents will stop in.
Yeah, it's one thing about, if you could ask your construction people to keep the sidewalk open, at least to the people, because there's no real way to get across
We,
High Street.
we have bringing that up, we do have, and we haven't started digging the front of the building out yet, but we did have a little problem there this summer, right when school opened up and the teachers were striking, when we were, digging in the water line. That was something else, the city made me sprinkle the entire building, that set us back too. And getting people out and work with engineers there tonight to design it. In order for us to get occupancy for the restaurant, they made us sprinkle all 4 floors before we got occupancy.
So you can kick out all the tenants.
Yeah, just kick out on top of everything else, and that was a setback for us.
Sure.
You kick everybody out to get them.
To do the work, each floor.
And it's not a big deal to them, it's only about $350,000 added to your budget, so it changed everything from when we was doing our financing and everything. It just changed the whole dynamics of the project. All of a sudden you're like, crap. Now, but we decided we're moving forward with it, so it's happening, and that goes back when the school and the teachers strike, and we was trying to put a water line in High Street, we got it in, and we do have a parking plan in place right now that permits forward. And I don't know when the barrels will go up, and they gave us specifically how they'll have to walk around that front area to dig the patio. Our hopes would be, I know it's getting winter, December or January, we would dig that patio and pour it.
And so they would put orange, like we did on the other side of on the other side of High Street, just basically put the sidewalk in a lane of traffic.
They gave us those, that's what the parking department, they came out and looked at, and they gave us those 2 lanes so that we could have equipment in there. And that we had to fence off there, we're gonna be working, but they will have that go out and around.
So
That plan that was approved, and we've already paid, well, we will pay.
you have to rent, basically you have to rent the street.
Yes, exactly.
No, that would be helpful, someone's, otherwise walking back to like California or Como, wherever that light is not.
Well, I'm surprised that the kids and parents are still parking in the parking lot, it's a mess. But I don't have a problem with it, it just, we got a code where they can go out and around right now to get there, and they're still picking up kids there, so.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? Anyone here to comment on that? Okay, then do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second? Any more discussion?
We have a commissioner report.
I did not. And I did not get any comments back.
Staff, do you see the staff comments?
Yeah.
It
We're
was
just
approved.
waiting for the neighborhood. To me, this is like the definition of a hardship. You've got an existing building that, when was it built?
1960.
Okay, didn't have it's difficult to achieve these requirements in an existing building without really just kind of having to tear like everything downstairs out.
Yeah.
So to me, there it is, it's a hardship to me.
I would tend to agree with that assessment. You're limited by the structure of the building, and there's very little you can do. The only thing I would wonder, is there something architecturally you could do? Part of the requirement for the glass is to break up the facade, so you don't have a large mass of brick and wall, and like you see kind of along I'll use the Grover there as an example, but what they've done there is kind of put some architectural details on the wall to help break it up.
Yes, you can look there, we have the canopies above the two, and you can see the canopy, and what we did was the way the building sets, of course, we blocked the one window on the others, farther up, and tried to get it, we brought everything out to the High Street side, so basically, if you're setting up the light and stuff, you have it, and with the canopy and stuff, it should be very appealing.
I think that the landscape in the rendering is not the final landscaping, it's just to show we want that to be green.
But like this,
Certainly be taller.
something taller,
Yeah.
shrubbery.
I think
We're gonna pull those, we have to pull those, hollies up through there. Something will go in, back up through
Yeah, I
there.
think we need to soften that facade, there's limited area, but like something a little more vertical than low showing.
And if you notice, we went to black on the, brick on the walls and stuff. because, and we just had, I just had a conversation today with the masonry,
Yes, I
Yeah.
see.
that on the white, we were talking and seeing what the cost of the price is, so we have to saw cut those openings for the windows, so what we're talking about now is maybe saw cutting back a little bit and putting, limestone nails on the rim, so that you have another break, because that's a lot of white. It's just, that's the way it's built, and we do not wanna paint, because then you get into another maintenance issue. So we're talking about some other things about around the windows and stuff that we can do to give us some more break, like what you say, it's soften it up, yes, give us some more art tech.
Any other comments? Okay, time to vote. Kelly? Say yes?
Yes.
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 I vote yes as well, it's recommended. 5-0, this goes before the commission, December 1st. And do I have a motion? Oh, when is the next, I would say? December 1st, and our, yes, it'll be, and I vote December, yeah, it'll be December 1st, not December 7th, as I initially first said. December 1st, it's Thursday, December 1st. So, do you have a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
You guys have just a few seconds to discuss something else about the building?
Let me just,
This,
but you don't, let's not turn that off. We did, can we do a motion, to reconsider a motion to adjourn? One adjourn. Keep it, because you can't, we have to be meeting,
Sunshine.
we have to, sometime, no, we have, if we're gonna be discussing something, we have to, as a committee.
Oh,
So we will start, we can
do it
just
unadjourned.
unadjourn.
Well, I just, we didn't put it on there yet, so we took our front sign down, we're gonna come back, and we're doing a design on that. I just wanted to, what we'd like to do is, and we've seen this entrance and stuff, what we're talking about, putting a 3400 down this corner of the sign, that down this part here,
Right.
bringing it up above the canopy, and we want to apply, and I think if it stays still, we would like to put in a digital sign there, 5 to 5 per time temperature, something like that.
So it's a pretty large, tall sign, and I think the graphics commission variance that we request eventually is on the size of the electronic
Square
foot. But no, the actual sign itself complies for the building. It's just, it's gonna be that digital portion that's, to make it look scale-wise, and there'll probably be 2 stories of this, and like a blade that like articulates with a nice light, but have a little box for.
Yeah, it's rounded, the sign, what we're looking at right now, is it comes out, comes down, goes out like this, it's very rounded. It takes away from, once again, the squareness of the building and stuff, and adds to it and stuff. But that will be back with the final design that probably in the January, we'll probably.
The graphics, you'll go graphics.
I think it's graphics, yeah.
Are
It'll probably be some-
Are there residences, or really, I mean, just commercial, or, there's that one.
Verizon's across the street.
there are apartments on the
West
west
side.
of High Street above the businesses there.
But not right
Not
there,
right
right
there,
there
a
is
little
the
further
next,
south,
right?
yeah.
Purple Corners is, school,
I think that
school,
parts
oh, we're all
are-
commercial
Yeah.
there. I don't think it'd be, there's only a.
Kroger, the Orange Theory in the bank.
Yeah.
That's
I
right
asked
there.
because I used to work downtown, and there was a digital sign at the corner of High and Town, and it was incredibly bright. Like, when I would get there, at this time of year, when it's dark in the morning and dark at night, it is bright.
Yeah, but we can only go about 5 by 5 there. At the maximum, that'd probably be the maximum for a lot of reading structurals and stuff like that, but I mean, believe me, it's a lot cheaper not to do it, but we kind of thought that it'd be nice to be able to do some time temperature and welcome to Clintonville. Something that, we really don't have nothing on our corridor in Clintonville. I mean, they even let you know you're there.
And I think, there's gonna be a new commissioner for the Donnelly Osborne, and that is gonna be the commissioner for District 3 starting in January. She's a realtor here.
Yeah.
It's just.
She's on the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted you, I wanted you to know that if you ever wanted, that's the person who would be speaking for the district.
Okay.
When your graphics came up.
Okay. Yes, we're still working on the design and stuff. They brought it back a couple of times and it's been way too square. They made it out square. I'm like, everything we're doing is square. We need something to.
But if there's one person to reach out to, she'd probably be the person to reach out to.
Okay.
You ought to get,
Thank you.
to get her opinion.
And that's any comments, unless you have any comments, questions about that.
Nope. I look forward to seeing.
Can't wait until January.
Okay.
Okay, do you have a motion to adjourn us?
Thank you.
I'll approve without objection at 8:51, thank you. Can you just go like we had an informal discussion of graphics, we'll still, before the meeting adjourns? Have a good day.
Thank you.